Hey, what's up? I'm 3D. This is Tales from the driver's seat. Getting off the highway now. Way too much road noise to be recording. I am just feeling really drained right now. I don't know if it's the sleep or the food or just the events of the weekend. I made a 3-minute video on Saturday because the video on Friday I said, I'll see you tomorrow. And it was like, I'm going to stay true to that promise. Did not end up being in a place where I could record again that day. So it just literally didn't even happen. So basically, here I am, Monday afternoon now. Still feels like morning. I've bailed on an Articuno raid because nobody's showing up. So I don't know if I'm going to do one today or not. We'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, I am disgusted by all of the events that occurred this weekend. Like, I'm sure good things happened somewhere, but I'm just exhausted at this point. So, like, I'm positive that a lot of my drained feeling is just exhaustion. The sheer nightmare of it all. Let me start with the counter protests in Charlottesville, Virginia. And yeah, I know because of how YouTube works that I won't be able to set this video up the way I usually do, but I guess that's something that I have to deal with and roll with because I understand. It's a shit sandwich, man, with shit bread. Yet another reason. I don't care. You know, I am tired of stifling and censoring and restructuring, reframing, watering down, diluting things for other people's tender sensibilities. You know, I hate, and no, that's not using the same word twice for emphasis. I'm using the word against itself. Hate. I use words like hate and words stronger than hate against abstract ideas that really have no consequence, you know. Usually they're bad things, but other times they're like, I abhor that musical, that because I hate it. It's bad. It's a bad thing. So now there's, and I'm ripping off Twitter right now, but we're on the brink of thermonuclear war, and there's Nazis marching in the streets. This is America. Nazis, streets, and add the threat of thermonuclear war on top of that. What humans can survive, generally speaking, fairly impressive. But even surviving exposure to nuclear material, radioactive fallout, even the primary and secondary effects of a nuclear bomb going off, that's I'll tell you one thing, this is some scary shit. And I mean, we're paying for our avarice right now. There are people who voted to put people in power that brought us to this point, that gave a blank slate to people. Let me back up a little bit. The president was elected by and large by people with an axe to grind against a group they want to hate. Many of those groups are marginalized and disenfranchised already. Some of them are just getting out of the primordial soup that is the counterculture of our dominant culture. The LGBT community has only achieved marriage equality just a few years ago. But before that, if I wanted to get married, I had to find a female that wanted to marry me and then ask her to marry me, and then she would have to say yes. But now it's pretty much the same thing, but it's a guy that like I want it to be. So this is horrific. So we had the Twitter release of the trans ban for no goddamn reason. I had a video on that. Absolute zero reason to ban trans people. We're paying for antidepressants and boner pills that cost hundreds of times what it would cost to give trans people transitioning trans hormones for the gender that they identify with. And I don't know what goes into the hate that these people experience on a daily basis, and I'm going to stick on the trans issue for a minute. But seriously, it has nothing to do with choice. I mean, sometimes there is a choice, and, you know, sometimes there's not. It may not always be the best choice, per se, or the best set of choices, you know. It's hard. It really is. To wake up every day, look at a body that disgusts you because it doesn't identify with the gender that is set inside you. And that's for no other reason than just general biology. There are many, many stages to a person's development in utero and throughout life, but predominantly in utero is when this is particularly salient, I guess, because your body distinguishes between male and female at about 8 weeks gestation. I mean, it's got the chromosomes already there, but it doesn't physically differentiate for 8 weeks. After that, you're well into the second trimester before the brain even starts working on the structures that differentiate a male brain between a female brain. So you can have a male body and a biologically, physiological female brain. You can have the vice versa. Humans are complicated. We're very complicated creatures, and people are trying to boil us down into a black and white construct when there's an entire gradient floating in between. Like, as I said in a previous video, I identify as somewhere between 95 and 100% male, with just left of 100. So I see a truck in the middle of the street. Okay. That was odd. It was facing me in my lane. I guess we're just pulling into a spot. Alright. Anyway. And we're pulling back out. And we're pulling back in. Jesus. Bad drivers, eh? And I don't know why I got stuck on the trans issue, but sometimes I feel like I don't eloquate that well enough. And then, off to the side of that, this weekend we had literal Nazis. Actual goddamn Nazis. Volksdeutschen in the streets. We had a car. Ooh, there goes the cops. Crash into a crowd of counter protesters. This is not okay. And then we had the president come out and say hate on both sides. No! Fuck no! Hate on both sides. No. The counter protesters, the anti-Nazis, and no, I'm not going to call them alt-right. They're giving Nazi salutes, carrying Nazi flags, and then crashing into people with cars. They're fucking Nazis. And the president literally, like, Sig Heiled and goose stepped out of the room when he was asked if he was going to basically, I'm blanking on the word, but renounce the Nazis. A president that won't even renounce Nazis. That is bullshit, okay? That is a scrambling fighter jet. Oh, which reminds me, this morning the FBI intercepted and arrested a guy who attempted to detonate a car bomb in downtown Oklahoma City in 1995 or 1994. I think it was 94. So now all that's missing is a Confederate pilot crashing into the Sears Tower or whatever. So this is like history soup. It's fucking garbage. And I think we can get through this as a species a lot better if we stop hating and trying to annihilate each other and actually cooperate against the people who are actually affecting our lives in a negative way. And I'll give you a hint. Stop punching down. Just stop punching down. I also apologize for the squinting. It's just the light is very diffuse today. It's nice and warm outside, but it's also overcast. We had rain this morning, so I'm anticipating it's going to feel like ball soup later, and I have to clean out this car. But anyway, I've gone on way too long on way too many topics. I may upload a second video, but anyway, that's it for me. Thanks for hanging out. If you're new here, hit subscribe. If you're adventurous, click the bell. And I'll see you next time.